Management Research. Hello and welcome to the Management Research podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Eugene. Hello and welcome to the next episode in my series dedicated to strategic management. Today we're going to talk about the differences in strategy for the non-profit organizations. And interestingly, there are some debates going on about the strategy in non-profit organizations, because some people assume that non-profit organizations work in a different way. They are not driven by money. If they are not driven by money, they cannot focus on profit maximization. And the question is whether we can pursue the same strategic management in non-profit organizations as we do in for-profit organizations. And in this event, I'm going also to refer to the book by Grant and Jordan, Foundations of Strategy, who said that actually for non-profits, the strategy works almost in the same way as it works for the for-profit organizations. First, you have to understand that there are three types of non-profit organizations. The organizations in competitive environment that charge users, for instance, Royal Opera House or Guggenheim Museum or Stanford University. They still have competitive environment, but they compete on the charge of users. So the students who go to Stanford has to be one of the best universities, otherwise students will not go there and will not pay the student tuition fees that, as you know, are pretty high there. Or the museum or the opera house, people go there only if there is an interesting event and they are willing to pay for the tickets to go there. Otherwise, they will lose in the competition against the cinemas, because people will just go to the movie theater in order to watch a new movie instead of going to opera. Then we have the second type of organizations that are in competitive environment that is provided for free. For instance, Greenpeace or Linux. These are organizations that offer the products that are provided for free, and the competition is also there, but they compete in many things against other organizations and against the for-profit organizations, like Linux is competing against Windows, Android, and the Apple iOS. And then we have the third type of organizations that are sheltered from competition, for example, the Ministry of Defense of the UK, or New York Police Department, or World Health Organization. There are no two ministries of defense within your countries, there's only one Ministry of Defense. There are no two police departments within your city, there's only one police department, so there is no competition. And in this event, they already work a bit differently. But for all of these three types of organizations, the idea of missions, goals, and performance indicators work. Because in order to be successful, the Guggenheim Museum or the Opera House in Innsbruck, they have to provide a clear mission and a goal, what they want to show, what is going to happen with their list of events that are going to happen there within the next years. For instance, recently we had a huge change in the Landestheater, where one of the key players who was responsible for dancing and who is a passionate dancer, Mr. Angasa Valga, he had to leave the theater because somebody else came there. And the idea was a strategic one. They wanted to change their repertoire. They wanted to focus less on dancing and more on whatever they want to focus on. So I think the idea was to implement more philosophical ideas into the repertoire of the Landestheater. And they have, of course, the performance indicators, because you can see how many people are visiting, for instance, your theater, and how much money you're earning from your events. The same applies to the organizations like the UK Ministry of Defense. Of course, they have the mission. They want to make the UK a secure place. And of course, they have the goal. They want to prepare, for instance, for the next war against Russia, and they want to be sure that their ships somewhere in one of the seas or oceans are not being attacked by pirates and so on. And of course they have the performance indicators. They know how many officers they have, they know how much munition they have, they know how much they're prepared, how many soldiers they have, and how efficiently and effectively they can pursue their operations all over the world. The next level, after you have the mission, goal, and performance indicators, is actually to think about the competitive analysis of your customers, but they don't really work with the customers. These three types of organizations. Especially it is the case for the UK Ministry of Defense or the World Health Organization, because they don't really have the customers. But the others two, organizations in competitive environment that provide free services and organizations in competitive environment that charge users, they can make analysis. In this event, the theater can make competitive analysis among their visitors and to see what they really want to do and why they're coming to this theater and not going to the movie theater. In the event of organizations that provide free services, you can make competitive analysis among funders because they live from donations and they live from funders, and of course they want to understand what the funders are willing to pay for. And the next level, you have to analyze your resources and capabilities for competitive advantage, and this works the same as it works in the for-profit organizations for the organizations in competitive environment that charge users and that provide services for free. In the event of organizations sheltered from competition, they focus on resources and capabilities for priorities and strategy. They do have resources, but it's not about the competition, it's more about, like in the event of the UK Ministry of Defense, of the survival of the nation. And finally, they implement strategy in the same way as for-profit organizations do. So as you see, the strategy that we talked about during the last episodes works the same for for-profit and non-profit organizations. And it means doesn't matter where you want to work, the information you listen to in this podcast or information you get from a strategy book will be applicable, and you may be successful if you learn how to apply strategic management in your organization, whatever type it is. I hope it was interesting. Wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.